Hey there, Alan Mathews here from Classical Guitar Shed. In this video, we are going to talk about freeing the left hand wrist. And why on earth would you want to do such a thing? Well, oftentimes whenever we're playing songs, we have to actually move positions around. We might have a chord that makes us do like this. We might have a big stretch that has to go like this. There are all these demands for our left hand that we have to actually rise to. And so what happens oftentimes that I see with students is that this wrist gets really stiff and the fingers get really stiff, and so we find ourselves making some crazy stretch. That doesn't have to be so crazy. If we actually just moved it around somehow, then there's a better way to play it. And so what happens is if we can free our wrist, then we can use a whole lot less muscle in our fingers and stretch a whole lot less and contort a whole lot less. So this is about freeing the wrist. So to begin with, let's just look at the basic way that the basic form of the left hand on the guitar. So I'm just going to play a note right here, and then I'm just going to take my hand off. And what shape I'm in a nice C shape like this. My hand is just in a pretty neutral position in this way, and so this is my resting position, more or less, is this right here. My thumb is behind my fingers are lightly curved. And so this is a really nice position. So ideally we could just play with this position all the time. Well, if we have to do something, then first off, take that and then just move it around with your wrist like this. And just think about your wrist being as free as possible. Very quiet in the wrist. You're still keeping this shape in the hand, but you're moving the wrist around. You can move it up and down. You can move it side to side. You can wave. You can do your Miss America wave. All these different movements with that. Great. Now, just away from the guitar, because the guitar can make things difficult because it's this weird thing that we're working with. Just use your other wrist. So then keep that same shape, bring it to your other wrist, put it on there so that your thumb and your fingers are opposite each other. Put it on there, and then start working around like this and start moving those same exact motions around that. And what you're going to notice is that you're going to roll on the tip of that middle finger. The middle finger is a nice one to work with. You can work with all of your fingers on this just for kicks. But make sure to get a nice rolling around, like a circular motion like this, and a back and forth motion like this, as well as an up and down like this. All the different motions you can think of, diagonals, circles, other way circle, and just be able to move all around like this. Now, if you'll notice, if you squeeze too hard, you'll feel it because you're actually squeezing your wrist. You don't want to squeeze too hard, but there needs to be enough pressure to keep your finger stabilized on that, as if you're holding a fret down. You can roll on it, you can move around on it, but you don't want to let go of it, and you don't want to over squeeze it so that you lock your finger down. Because what happens is, as you do some of these motions, your finger actually does need to extend and flex back and forth like this right here. So sometimes you'll extend the finger as you go around, and sometimes it'll actually come in and compress and flex like this. So ideally you can make these motions while keeping that finger glued down. This will probably take some practice at first, and that's perfectly fine. You've got time. You can do it at the red light. And so just be able to do that. After you can do this with all the different fingers, then come over to your guitar, press down a note, and do it there. And work around. And you'll notice it's not quite as, it's different than on your wrist, and it's certainly different than on with nothing and just doing like this. So we want to work this as well. Now notice sometimes the thumb wants to slide, and if it does, that's perfectly fine so long as it stays relative to the finger. So it can do like this so long as it's staying, you don't want to end up all crazy in some contorted position, because the whole point is to not, right? So then that's what this. If you practice this, then you'll notice that you'll find places where you need to fall into some chord, and you'll just be able to more freely move into the right position. Now, if you're going to troubleshoot a position, if you're having a hard time with the stretch or something, shake it all out. Find the most perfect position to play it. Let's say I'm playing that chord. What is the most perfect position for this chord right here? That is what it is. But if I start off with some other position, then I have to actually swing my wrist down and go into a different position. Well, if I keep the same wrist and then try to do it, I'm going to have to stretch. So then you can find these opportunities to use this new freedom in your pieces and in your practice. So please subscribe to this channel. I hope that you liked this video, and thank you so much for watching. And go over to classicalguitarshed.com as well for all kinds of resources and articles and videos on making your classical guitar life oh so much better. See you soon.